Whenever we search for the mysteries behind an unexplained thing, we first try to find out some strong evidence that could raise questions in our minds and could inspire us to learn more and more about it. If that evidence comes out in the form of a real photo, it sends shivers down our spines. In this article, we will tell about such strange and mysterious photos that have left behind thousands of questions unanswered to this day. 1. Lady of the Lighthouse. When this photo of the St. Augustine Lighthouse was snapped in broad daylight by two friends, they noted nothing out of the ordinary. Later that night, they went back through the photos they had taken that day and were surprised to see someone standing on the walkway atop the lighthouse. They knew there was none on the top of the lighthouse when they took this photo. St. Augustine Lighthouse has seen tragedy many times, with deaths befalling keepers and their families, and drowning children in the water. The place is said to be extremely haunted. 2. The unsolved case of Tara Calico. Tara Calico left on a bike ride one morning in September 1988. She told her mother to look for her on the bike route if she wasn't home by noon. The next time they saw her with an unidentified boy, both bound and gagged, in a Polaroid picture found in a convenience store parking lot in Port St. Joe, Florida. Tara's disappearance is still unsolved. No one knows what happened to them. 3. Edna Centrone survived the plane crash on September 11th. Edna Centrone survived the horrible plane crash into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. If you have a closer look, you can see her waving for help in the center of the photo. However, it's still hard to understand how she could have possibly survived the crash on the 95th floor. 4. Pyramid on the Moon. This photo was taken by Apollo 17 near the Geophone Rock, during the last flight to the moon, and it was listed as a blank in the Apollo 17 Photographic Index. The photo certainly suffers from extreme light exposure and noise issues. But it's in fact not completely blank, as adjusting the contrast reveals pyramid-like structures. 5. The unexplained lunar lights in the Apollo 14 mission. This photo was taken on the surface of the moon during the Apollo 14 mission. This photo clearly shows a weird blue light located miles away that should not be there. There's a series of photos that show such blue lights in one place or more. Some claim these are lens flares of the camera, while others put forth some conspiracy theories, including extraterrestrial objects, UFO, or even NASA's dark secrets behind these photos. 6. The Hook Island Sea Monster. In 1964, French photographer Robert Le Serrec spotted and took a quick picture of what resembled a giant snake-like black creature resting on the seafloor off the coast of Queensland, Australia. Some sources claimed it could have been a long tarp or something similar. However, no credible explanation has ever been made for this extremely strange and bizarre photo. According to many, it's one of the greatest cryptozoological finds. 7. The Great Los Angeles Air Raid. The Battle of Los Angeles, or also known as the Great Los Angeles Air Raids, is a rumored enemy attack and subsequent anti-aircraft artillery barrage, which took place from late February 24th to early February 25th, 1942 over Los Angeles, California. According to many ufologists, the picture of the supposed attack that appeared in local newspapers back then might have actually shown an extraterrestrial aircraft. The incident occurred just after the United States entered World War II as a result of the Japanese Imperial Navy's attack on Pearl Harbor, and one day after the bombardment of Elwood on February 23. 8. The Black Knight Satellite. This strange space object photographed in 1998 during NASA's STS-88 mission has been widely claimed to be the Black Knight satellite, a mysterious advanced space satellite orbiting Earth in near-polar orbit. The conspiracy theories claim that it is some kind of extraterrestrial spacecraft or satellite, and that NASA is engaged in a cover-up of its existence and origin. Some even believe the Black Knight may be 13,000 years old, which was put in Earth's orbit to monitor humanity. The object has been witnessed by several persons in different timelines throughout history. 9. The Solway Firth Spaceman. On May 23, 1964, Jim Templeton, a firefighter from Carlisle, Cumberland, took 3 photographs of his 5-year-old daughter Elizabeth while on a day trip to Burg Marsh. Later, he was shocked when the middle picture came back from Kodak, displaying what looks like a spaceman in the background. 10. The 1941 Time Traveler. This black and white photograph is said to be taken in 1941 at the reopening of the South Forks Bridge in Gold Bridge, Canada. It's depicting a man in seemingly modern dress and style, with a camera that is advanced well beyond its time. On the left illustrates a man with a camera typical to the time period. Many claim he was a time traveler, whereas many explain that such types of sunglasses and clothing were available at that time. Yes, it was. But this dress code was not the trend during that period. However, no one has a proper explanation for his advanced-looking camera. If the man wasn't a time traveler, then he must have a perfect sense of future dress code. 11. Hessdalen Lights. The Hessdalen Lights are unexplained lights observed in a 12-kilometer-long stretch of the Hessdalen Valley, in rural central Norway. These unusual lights have been reported in the region since at least the 1930s. Wanting to study the Hessdalen Lights, Professor Bjorn Hoge took the above photo with a 30-second exposure. He later claimed that the object seen in the sky was made from silicon, steel, titanium, and scandium. 12. The Babushka Lady. Babushka Lady is the nickname for an unknown woman present during the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy, who might have photographed the events that occurred in Dallas's Dealey Plaza at the time JFK was shot. She was seen several times in various photographs, but none had captured her face because in all cases she was either facing away from the camera, or had her face obscured by her own camera. She never came forward, and the U.S. investigators have never identified her. 13. The Ghost of Freddy Jackson. This photo of the Victor Goddard RAF squadron was taken before the squadron was disbanded. Every service member was present for the picture, except for Freddy Jackson, an air mechanic who had died a few days earlier when he accidentally walked into a moving propeller. However, in the picture behind another member in the back row, Freddy Jackson appeared, even though he was dead. 14. Vladimir Putin. In 1988, President Ronald Reagan made a trip to Moscow and went to visit Red Square. While shaking hands with a young boy, the president had his picture snapped by White House photographer, Peter Souza. Souza insists that the blonde, nerdy-looking nearby is none other than a young Vladimir Putin, who later became one of the most famous KGB spies ever. There is no confirmation about this photo from the Kremlin. Still, it remains a mystery whether the nerdy man is Putin or not. 15. The Martian Spherules. In 2004, the Mars exploration rover Opportunity had already detected curious blueberry-shaped microscopic formations in the Martian soil. But a much stranger picture was taken by Opportunity at the end of 2012, depicting bigger spherules in larger numbers. Suggested to be made of hematite, a possible sign of the past presence of water, scientists are still uncertain of what these things might be. 16. Naga Fireballs. Naga fireballs, sometimes also referred to as the Mekong lights, or more commonly known as the ghost lights, are the strange natural phenomena with unconfirmed sources seen on the Mekong River in Thailand and Laos. Glowing reddish balls are alleged to naturally rise from the water, high into the air. The fireballs are most often reported around the night in late October. There are many who have attempted to scientifically explain the Naga fireballs, but none of them has been able to put forth any strong conclusion. 17. Michael Rockefeller. Michael Rockefeller was the fifth child of New York Governor and future U.S. Vice President Nelson Rockefeller. He was presumed dead in 1961 when he mysteriously disappeared during an expedition in the Asmat region of southwestern Netherlands, New Guinea, which is now a part of the Indonesian province of Papua. The above image was captured 8 years later in 1969, of Papuan cannibals along with a white man. Many believe that the man is Rockefeller who joined the tribe.